Hi, this is Brett Ingram, entrepreneur and award-winning product creator, and today I want to share with you why every entrepreneur and business owner should join a mastermind group. So what exactly is a mastermind group anyway? A mastermind group, real simply, is just a group of entrepreneurs and business owners that get together either virtually or in person from time to time, and they basically share their business experiences with each other. So they can be from different industries, they can be from different geographies, they could be from various different countries, and totally different business models and everything else, and even at different levels in business. But the idea is they're all in a position to be entrepreneurial, they're all in a position where they're running a business and trying to find solutions to problems, trying to find ways that they can grow and expand and thrive. And so by getting together, the idea is to share information, and because you're not competitors with each other, it isn't you and the competitor right next to you in the same group. The idea is that we can learn from each other, and we can learn things that might seem from totally disparate industries to be things that we can use to help ourselves in our own business. We also can share challenges, and maybe someone in the group has already been through the challenge that we're facing and will have advice for how we can work through it, or even if they don't, they can share with us what they believe is a great way to approach it. And so what it does is it gives us as entrepreneurs and business owners sort of a sanity check. It allows us to not feel like we're in a bubble all by ourselves trying to make decisions when we don't have all the information. It gives us additional perspectives, it gives us additional viewpoints, and it lets us draw on other people's experience so we're able to benefit from that. And so it's sort of like the high tide rises all ships. So who is in a mastermind group exactly? Well, in general, this will depend on the exact group itself. Some groups are limited to CEOs, and they need to have a certain net worth, or they need to have a certain business size or business model or things like that. So some mastermind groups are very specific to what the requirements are to be in it. Other groups are much more casual and open in nature, and it doesn't really matter as long as you're in a position where you're making decisions in a company. So sometimes they're not even all CEOs. Maybe it's a head of marketing or head of finance or whatever. But all of these people are all influential in whatever business that they're working in, and they tend to be in groups that can be anything from, mastermind group can be anything from 4 or 5 people, where basically you just get together and you talk about that stuff amongst yourselves. Or some of them are like virtual mastermind groups where they can be hundreds or even thousands. Now, it isn't practical to all get together at the same time with a group of 1,000 people. There isn't any way to realistically share information that way. But you could break into pods, or you could break into groups, and there's various different setups for the way that these work. But in general, anyone who's an entrepreneur, even if you don't already have a business, it's recommended that you join a mastermind group, because if you're planning to start one, you can get great advice and tips before you take the plunge, so you don't make any mistakes and you do things the right way right out of the gate. Now, how does it work? So once you're in a mastermind group, what happens if I have an issue? Well, again, this is going to depend on the group itself. Some groups are going to have formal meeting times and setups, where we get on a call at this time, on this day, every single month or every single week, and that's when we talk about our stuff. In between that, we don't really share much, we don't really get together, we don't have that sort of back and forth communication. Others are going to be a Skype group or a WhatsApp chat or something like that, where it's an ongoing back and forth. Anytime you have an issue, you post it, and anyone who's seeing it that might have the answer can respond and share that information with you. So the formats for these can be anything from live in-person events. I've seen people do these on retreats, where you all go to a resort somewhere, maybe play some golf or swim in the pool or whatever, have some nice dinners, and you also discuss business. Other times these are just informal things where you never actually meet face to face. Most of it is done on the phone, or most of it is done via the internet, where it's all just basically focused on the sharing of information, a little bit less than the actual relationship building itself. And so there can be various different structures as well. Now, where do you find mastermind groups and to be able to join them in the first place then? If, it's not like a secret society. So if you wanted to find a mastermind group, how would you go about doing that? Well, mastermind groups, some of them are private and some of them are exclusive, and so they don't advertise. They're not looking for new members. They're closed, and it's a group of people that get together. They've known each other, and that's what they do, and that's totally fine. We don't need to worry about trying to get ourselves into closed groups. What we want is to find an environment where everyone's open and willing to share. So the idea is we can create our own. If we know other CEOs or we know other high-flying people that are entrepreneurial in nature that want to be able to get together in sort of a think tank environment and help each other mutually, then that's certainly, we could start our own mastermind group. And again, it can be totally informal. We could also do a search online. There are forums, whether it be on Facebook groups or forums online. There are, mastermind groups that do advertise that you can apply for. Some actually have an application process that you need to go through in order to be vetted and approved. And then once you're in, you're in. Some of them have a large fee, and they do that on purpose to keep people out that they don't think are going to be able to contribute or benefit. Oftentimes it's not done as a way to discourage people, but rather just to let them know the level that we're operating at here. If you can't come up with this kind of a buy-in for it, then you're just probably not ready for what they've got. Some of them are free. And so again, there's all different kinds for all different people. The most important thing to understand about mastermind groups is that there's one for everyone. And if there isn't, we can create our own with people that we respect or people that we find by reaching out and asking, hey, listen, I'm interested in starting a mastermind group. I'm looking for people with this criteria. This is going to be the format. We're open to discussion on, whatever ways we want to edit that, but that's basically what we're looking to do. And so we can start our own as well. So who should join a mastermind group exactly? Should it just be CEOs and titans of industry? Absolutely not. The thing about a mastermind group is that because it is a think tank environment where we're sharing information, sharing solutions to problems, sharing what business challenges we've got and getting other people's advice, this is great for anybody. Anyone who's running a current business, whether it's brick and mortar, whether it's online, whether it's digital, or even if you're thinking of starting a business, if you are an entrepreneur, sometimes that is the best time to get involved with a mastermind group, because that's the time where when you have all these ideas and you're trying to slow everything down because your head's going a million miles an hour and you're trying to figure out what direction should I go in with this? What strategy should I use for that? You can share that stuff with other people and they will give you their advice and feedback. So you can tell whether you're just way out of there or whether you're onto something and what ideas you have that are good and what ideas might need to be tweaked in order for that to work. And then how do you join? Well, essentially, again, that's going to depend. Some of them, as I said, have an application process where you have to submit a bunch of information about your background. You have to pay a fee. Some of them are, just pay to play. If you pay the fee, you're in. Some of them just require a certain level of achievement, and then you're in. And some of them have no rules at all, other than the fact that you're an engaged member and that you give and take. You're not just there to get stuff from other people, but you're there to help as well. And so those are the basic ideas and the basic sort of backdrop about what mastermind groups are, how they're structured, and where to find them and how to join them. So what exactly are the benefits? Like, why is it so important for every business owner and every entrepreneur to be involved in a mastermind group? Well, first off, there are so many benefits, they're hard to even name them all. But just to name a few, the first thing is it helps us solve problems faster. When we have a problem in our business, we've all been in the situation where you're trying to figure out what the solution is. And you're thinking about it, but you're drawing from your own frame of reference. So no matter how successful you are, how well schooled you are, how much of a lifelong student you are about learning everything you can, we all have limits on our own personal experience and personal abilities. When we join a mastermind group and we share our problems with them, all of a sudden we unlock all of this other brain power. We unlock all of this other experience. We're able to tap into all of that and get a bunch of people working on that all together at once. So it's really a powerful situation. If you've never seen or been involved with a mastermind group and seen things like hot seats or whatever, I highly recommend you at least look it up because it's really fascinating. And I'll share a story with you in a minute about one that I was involved in. The other thing, or another benefit, is that it lets you vet your ideas in advance. This is really awesome because we've all had a marketing idea. We've all had sort of a thing where we said, geez, maybe if I did that in my business, that would really work. Or a product idea. I got this great idea for a product and this is what I'm thinking it's going to do. And we've, some of us, maybe not all of us, have been in a situation where we've then created it and people were kind of like, what exactly was the point of this again? And, then we look at it again and say to ourselves, what exactly were we thinking? I mean, I thought it was a great idea at the time. Then I went and tried it. It didn't work so well. Well, if we have a mastermind group to tap into, we can share those ideas in advance. We can say, hey, listen, guys, I've got an idea for this particular product that I think, I'm very curious to get what your feedback would be. This is who it's for. This is what it is. This is what it'll do. These are the benefits. What do you think? And at a very least, you're going to get feedback and a sanity check as to whether or not you're totally off the reservation or whether or not it's a good idea. But you're also likely going to get some golden nuggets, things that you can use that maybe you hadn't even thought of that will improve it or make it better or build on what you had already started. Another benefit, and this is definitely a really, really important one, is that it helps build our network and our connections. We can pretend all we want that entrepreneurs and business owners and everything else are all about, hard work and ingenuity and, we can all do it ourselves. No one does anything successfully on their own, period. End of sentence. No one who's ever accomplished anything of significance or consequence has ever done it completely on their own. It's just not possible. There are people supporting you directly or indirectly. There are people involved in it indirectly or directly. And the fact is, the stronger our network, the stronger our connections, it's not about social climbing. It's not about necessarily like trying to say that you rub elbows with the most important people in business. It's the fact that you have a network of people that you're in a position to be able to help each other. That's the material point. It doesn't matter what level it's at. They don't need to be, household name CEOs. They just need to be people that at the end of the day have the ability to help you and you have the ability to help them in terms of introducing you to, an advertising partner or a person who's great at software development when you needed a developer or, I know this person who does this. When you have a mastermind group, someone is going to have those connections built in. So your connections then get added on to their connections and you build a bigger network. You become more and more powerful in terms of your ability to grow your business, solve problems, and achieve the goals that you've set out. So the network and connections is a really important point. Even though it's not the direct reason you get into it, it's certainly a huge benefit. Another big benefit is that it gives you a pulse on the business. I know from my own industry and I know from my own history in my own business, I've had times in the sort of the trajectory of what I've been doing where I've been able to be very connected to everything. I've gone to events and I've seen people in person and I've known exactly what's going on in the industry. But then I've also had times where maybe for months at a time, maybe even a year or two, I've been so busy and focused on what I was working on that I wasn't really paying attention to what was going on in the industry, the economy, any of these other things. And that's dangerous because when you're doing things in a bubble, when you're doing things in a vacuum and you don't understand the greater sort of world that's going on outside you, you have the potential to miss something. You have the potential to be, putting your ladder up against the wall and climbing really fast, only to find out it's against the wrong wall. So the important thing is it helps us keep connected with what's going on. We're going to know what everyone's current pressing business problems are. We're going to know what everyone's current pressing, business challenges are, what their successes are. We're going to know what the grand economy and industry is doing to businesses, whether it's been good to them, bad to them. We're going to know when we're in times of prosperity or times of struggle, whether we're alone or whether other people are going through that as well. So it's going to give us a pulse. It also gives us a social outlet. As entrepreneurs, a lot of times, and business owners, we're lonely. There's an element to us that is lonely because regardless of how much we physically or, actually interact with people on a given day, we are the ones who captain the ship. And there's something inherent about that is lonely because we have to make our own decisions. We are solely responsible. And so because of that, having that social outlet where we can connect with other people that are in a similar situation gives us that connectivity with people. It gives us that thing that resonates, that makes us feel like we're not alone and that we're in this together. And that's a really comforting feeling to have. Another benefit of a mastermind group is that we get honest advice. If you have a great idea and you're all excited about it, and then you go to your friends and you say, hey, listen, I got this great idea for this thing. It's a jump to conclusions mat. And what we're going to do is we're going to make this mat like a twister mat, and we're going to have different conclusions on it that we can jump to. I'm stealing from the movie Office Space, if you didn't catch the reference there, but love the movie. It's absolutely hilarious. And the idea is, the guys say to him, that's the worst idea I've ever heard. Well, depending on your friends and how much they like you and care about you and how much they want to make you feel good, they may or may not be honest with what their advice is about your idea. So here you go, you're all excited, you share your idea, and they're looking at it from their own perspective, and they're telling you, yeah, that's great, or no, it's terrible, or whatever. I always remember this from the days when I used to watch American Idol. American Idol, the old singing audition show, where people can go on and become the next new pop superstar. And so during the audition phase, they always had some auditions on there in the early years where the people were literally tone deaf. They sung worse than I did, and I'm a terrible singer. So they would say, oh, my mother, and the judges would say, well, who encouraged you to come here? Why are you here? Well, my mother said I can really sing great. And, I've been doing, vocal coaching lessons for the last 5 years. And the judges look at each other like, someone was actually taking your money and pretending to tell you that you could be a singer. You literally can't carry a tune. And it's just terrible that somebody would have done that and actually taken money from them when they weren't honest with them and told them, listen, this probably isn't the career path for you. There are people that naturally can just belt out, 6-7 octave range. You can't even, do 2, and you can't carry a tune or match a pitch. So this isn't the right thing for you. When you're in a mastermind group, you're going to get honest advice. The people don't have any axe to grind or any edge to get on you. So they want you to be successful. The last thing they want to do is give you bad advice, have you fall on your face, and then you come back to them and say, hey, why'd you tell me this was good? So you're going to get honest advice, which is really valuable. You're also going to get synergy and joint venture opportunities, because when we work cross industries, when we work cross, geographies and all these other things, one of the amazing things that comes out of that is unforeseen opportunities to work together or to do things jointly, even if it's just sharing an advertising agency or, sharing buying in bulk so we can both get half of what we need at a lower price or whatever it is. It doesn't necessarily need to be a JV where we're making sales for each other. There are a lot of different opportunities for synergy and for joint ventures, and we only uncover those when we're involved in a mastermind group where we see those. The other thing it's going to do is expose us to new ideas. We're going to learn a lot of new ideas, things that we hadn't even thought of, because we're going to hear what other people are going through. That gets the light bulb going, and that's how we start to learn and grow and expand beyond what we currently already know. We can also prevent or minimize our mistakes, because if we share what we're planning to do up front and we get a lot of advice that's warning against it, it gives us an opportunity to maybe hedge against that or maybe rethink it before we go down a path that's doomed for disaster. And so it helps us avoid those pitfalls or at least minimize our mistakes. It also unleashes the potential for exponential growth. Now, I was involved in, it's not technically a mastermind group, but it's something that's done in mastermind groups, so it's really valuable experience and example. I was at a live event, and Jay Abraham, the marketing guru, was going to do what he called a hot seat, where it was him and a few other experts that he had. They all had different levels of expertise in various avenues in marketing and business. And what he did was we had all entrepreneurs and business owners in the audience. So he said, somebody come up on stage, sit right here, tell us what your business is, tell us what your challenge is, tell us what you're trying to do. And so that's what they did. And then one person, whether it was Jay or somebody else, would jump in with an idea. Well, I think that you should do this. Then the next person would jump in, and a lot of times what would happen is they'd piggyback on the idea from before it. And it was this rapid fire session that only lasted 5 to 10 minutes. And literally at the end of it, even though it wasn't my own business, every person in the room was just absolutely like amazed by the amount of information in 5 to 10 minutes this group of experts could come up with in terms of ways that this person could leverage their assets, build their business, and grow to whole new heights. Stuff that they hadn't even considered or thought of. And by the way, it wasn't any one of those experts that did it. It was one, then piggybacking on the other, then piggyback. And so the ideas just kept getting better and better and better and better. And by the end, it was exponentially better than where it started. Absolutely phenomenal experience. And that's exactly what you can get into when you have your own mastermind group or you're a part of one. And there are a host of other benefits as well. At the end of the day, being in a mastermind group increases our speed, efficiency, and effectiveness as an entrepreneur. And those are vital, vital traits to have, vital, vital things to do if we want to be successful in today's business environment. And it helps us grow our skills, insights, and acuity faster. So we actually develop as entrepreneurs and business owners as well. So it ultimately leads to a shortcut to success. Now, a couple of quick tips. You want to make sure that you find a group that you resonate with. It doesn't need to be the highest flyers or the best group or the most expensive group. It needs to be a group of people that you resonate with, that you feel like you can contribute to and gain from. A second tip is to make sure that we engage and commit. The idea isn't to join a mastermind group so we know it's like our, in case of emergency, break glass security blanket. It is an active, engaged community that we want to be involved in, where we're committing and we are actively learning from. And the third tip is to help others as much as you can. So it's about a win-win. It isn't about just taking and dumping my problems on everybody and hoping that they can help me solve them. It's about contributing what we can as well and helping other people's. If we go into it and treat it like a $100,000 or $1 million coaching and mentoring session, we'll get that much out of it. So the takeaway here is that entrepreneurs and business owners have a built-in independence and a belief that we can do anything, which is both a blessing and a curse. We get a lot done and we do things most people think are impossible, but we can also get stuck feeling like we need to solve all of our problems on our own. Joining a mastermind group allows us to share our experiences, which is healthier, but it also provides us insights, advice, tactics, and strategies that maybe we wouldn't have thought of on our own. When we understand how transformative a mastermind group can be and embrace it, then we can become happier, more fulfilled, and ultimately more successful too.